So I looked at the CarlinKit HDMI to CarPlay adapter recently in a review on this channel, and DS Showtime 718 in the comments asked, "Hey Anthony, can you use USB-C to HDMI from your phone to this adapter?" Now I find that a very good question. A little bit annoyed that I didn't actually try that out in the review, but basically this is an HDMI port. It doesn't obviously do CarPlay as such, but what you could do is plug this in and connect it to an HDMI adapter to your phone and then play back videos from your phone through the adapter onto your CarPlay display. So basically ruling out anything like YouTube apps on an AI box, for example. And the reason why you might want to do that is because you've got everything all connected, synced to your account on your phone. And yes, you can log into your account on an AI box, but it's a little bit safer just having it on your phone. You're always going to have your phone on you. You're not going to leave an AI box in your car. So there's a security issue there. And basically, if you can connect it to an HDMI connection to your phone and play videos from your phone on the display via this adapter, it's kind of like best of both worlds, other than not having CarPlay through this adapter. So in this video, I'm going to test that out, see if that's even doable. And for that, I've got a full-size HDMI lead here ready to connect to the CarlinKit adapter, and this one will go into the adapter that connects to the phone. I've got two HDMI methods on connecting the phone to an HDMI cable. I've got the Satechi or Satechi USB-C to HDMI adapter here, and I've also got an Anker. These are things that I've reviewed on my site over the years, and I've kept them because they're actually decent. This is like a hub, 8-in-1 hub. It has a HDMI output socket on there as well. So we're going to try both. I'm going to go for the Satechi first because it's nice and discreet. Unfortunately, it doesn't connect well with a case, so I'm going to have to take my case off. And then I'm going to connect the Satechi to my phone. That now sort of powers it. You can't see that there, but it powers it. Then I'm going to connect the HDMI cable to that. So imagine this is like an HDMI dongle that you've coming off your phone. Even a lightning adapter as well could probably work. So that's now connected to my phone. Then we've got the adapter here, and this is the other end of the cable. So let's get this connected and see if it works. And yes, it does. Happy days. So that's your answer. Yes, it does work. So that's cool. And obviously portrait, we can't do landscape, but what we can do is now fire up YouTube and let's fire up the review. A HDMI device, be it a Fire Stick or Google Chrome or Roku streaming box, to the device. So the quality is fine, it's passable, because I reckon it's probably, yeah, it's using 480p. So on the YouTube app, I'm going to do, I can't select that. I can. Let's go for that then. Yeah, that's much better. So I'm going to play that back. And the fact that this doesn't actually do wireless CarPlay or Android Auto from that adapter as well, there's a little bit of a miss opportunity there for CarlinKit. That's not too bad. Sync is very similar to how I had it with the TV streamers, the Google Chromecast, and also the Amazon Fire Stick. There was a little bit of a delay in the HDMI connection, but I'm impressed with that. That's YouTube, so that's like non-copyrighted content. Let's go for Netflix and see how well that does and if it actually does it. Right, so we're into Netflix. Let's see if we can play back some video. Display is not supported. Okay, that's a little bit annoying. Yeah, every single bit of content doesn't work. So YouTube is fine, Netflix isn't. Let's try Prime Video.
He killed that poor in broad daylight and they f***ing cheered. I mean, what do you think that taught them, eh? We're whistling our way towards an apocalypse, and Grace's eye ain't on the ball.
Okay, that sounds really good on Amazon Prime. A little bit better than Netflix actually on the boxes, and better than YouTube. So I think it comes down to app and how well that performs. You do have to rotate the phone for Amazon Prime. You can't sort of, oh you can, just saw it there. Oh, that didn't work. That, you can tap it instead. If you've got it on a cradle, you can go full screen there. So that's not too bad.
I'm a soldier boy.
So if you've got a nice big screen, it's going to do well for that. I think if you've got an iPhone Max, it's no real different to watching off your phone really once you've got a small screen in your car. What else can we try? Do I have Plex on here?
It's called Necris. And I didn't just see it. I knew it. Flashes of someone else's memories.
So that works well as well. This is Plex and the Plex app streaming over Wi-Fi. It has a card on the actual app itself, and the whole thing plays full screen over HDMI, so that's really, really good as well. So overall, pretty good. That's with the adapter. There's a little bit of crackling, and I think that is the adapter that I'm using. So I'm going to take this out and I'm going to try the Anker adapter. So the Anker adapter is a USB-C end. That's going into my iPhone Pro, and then I'm going to connect up the HDMI, and we're back in. So let's go to YouTube and play that last bit again. Adapter somehow, and the same for consoles as well. So you can see with this connected, it is doing it in a box format, so it really is dependent on the actual adapter that you actually use. This Anker 8-in-1 obviously giving these borders, and if I stretch it on my phone, you do get cropped top and bottom, but you can make it almost full width. And as for its audio sync, HDMI device to a CarPlay display, use the remote controls, and be done with anything like wireless CarPlay. Yeah, it's very similar in its slight delay. Let's just try the millisecond test. So about 200 to 300 millisecond there on this adapter. Let's now switch that out and go back to the Satechi and see if it's any different. Obviously, this little adapter does do a better job at it. So that's probably a little bit later in the 200 millisecond range on this adapter. So it really comes down to the quality of the adapter that you're actually connecting it to, I would say. This Satechi one is doing all right, but the Anker one is showing it in window mode. So I probably wouldn't try something like this. You could try Apple's own if they've got one still. Obviously, your Lightning to HDMI or USB-C to HDMI is all you need basically, and an HDMI lead and this adapter, and you can get video working on your CarPlay display without any AI boxes. We have seen that there is a bit of an issue with Netflix, and but no problems with Prime Video, and we've had no problems with Plex and YouTube. TikTok probably will work because it's non-copyrighted. Let's just quickly try that. Disconnect button to allow you to do multiple devices. This is the Apple, so you can actually use all that, but because everything's vertical, it's not the best for this particular scenario. Forgive me. Okay, that's VLC Player on iOS as well. No problems there either. So that's iOS. I'm not quite sure I ever have done HDMI from an Android phone, but I've got our Google Pixel here. Hopefully it has battery. No, it doesn't.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I've tested the Google Pixel connected to both Anker and Satechi adapters, and I couldn't get this thing to work. So I don't know if it's based on the OS, based on the Android, or just basically this doesn't want to transmit HDMI from my Google Pixel. But iOS works fine, so if you've got an iOS device, no problem there. Just get a decent HDMI to USB-C or HDMI to Lightning adapter. And with this adapter, you can get video working on your CarPlay display from your phone, and there's less of a need to spend a lot more money for AI box, really. The only thing is that you don't get wireless CarPlay or Android Auto with a device such as this, but if they were to release one in the future that does support that and HDMI, then that might be a good solution as well for you without having to spend a little bit more for an AI box. And whilst I'm here, I'm going to try out the Ottocast TV Mate that we had reviewed on the channel a few weeks ago. Basically the same principle. I'm going to plug in the HDMI cable into the adapter here like that and see if it comes up. Yes, it does. I'll say it is windowed again, so that is an issue with the adapter, whereas the CarlinKit was going a little bit more full screen. But let's try. Yeah, it's going to basically window it, but this adapter has the ability to stretch. So there's that benefit where the HDMI from CarlinKit does not allow that. And let's try the test. So again, probably very similar to the CarlinKit in terms of the audio delay, at least with the Satechi HDMI adapter that's I've got plugged into my iPhone Pro here. We'll just do a quick lip sync test as well. And the fact that this doesn't actually do wireless CarPlay or Android Auto from that adapter as well is a little bit of a miss opportunity there for CarlinKit. Okay, so again, like the CarlinKit, it does have that slight delay in the YouTube feedback, and it's likely going to have the same issues with Netflix, but we'll try that and see if that's any different. Yeah, so we still have the same problem there. We'll try Prime Video.
He killed that poor in broad daylight and they f***ing cheered. I mean, what do you think that taught him, mate, on the ball?
But you had a clean shot at him, right? With Soldier Boy. You didn't take it. Was your eye on the ball?
Again, lip sync is okay and it works fine in Prime Video. But you can see here it is windowed, and I really did struggle to get that full screen. Even with the stretch view, it doesn't really work that well as CarlinKit's. So I'd say CarlinKit has a bit of an advantage there in terms of playback. Try and play back some Plex content.
Flashes of someone else's memories. During King Atlan's time, there were 7 united kingdoms of Atlantis. And the Black City was a curse.
So that's not too bad as well. Lip sync's okay. Slight issue with the frame rate there. Plex seems to work. Full screen, no probs. What else?
Pensavamo che fosse la cosa giusta.
Lei vuole uccidere 4 Jedi, distanza su Brandok 16 anni fa.
Okay, so another issue there with the Ottocast adapter there. It is also having a few issues with the boxed nature of it, whereas the CarlinKit seems to operate a little bit better there. So I'd say, again, CarlinKit's a little bit better in producing the better content. The adapter could be a problem with that too, and how the Ottocast and the CarlinKit interprets that output, but we've seen one do it better than the other with the same HDMI adapter, so it might be a bottleneck at the adapter side as well, so factor that in.
Several days later.
Right, so we're back in the car and we've got 2 other products to try with this CarlinKit and Ottocast adapter. One of them is the Anker hub. I did realize that I did have one in the end, so we'll be trying that out. And also I've ordered a HDMI to USB-C lead, a very short one, 50 centimeters. I don't think you can get a HDMI to Lightning. If I'm completely wrong, I'll put that down below if I do find one. But I think a single cable install is going to be a lot easier and nicer looking than a hub is going to be. So we'll do this cable last. So next we're going to try out the Anker cable with the USB-C port. So it's only going to work with USB-C iPhones. And you've got an HDMI port here that's going to connect to the adapter from CarlinKit and Ottocast. So let's quickly try this out. There we go. It's nice and rapid, and that's the Anker. So we're going to quickly go into YouTube. Probably level pegging with most other wireless adapters at the moment in terms of price, but in terms of performance, you honestly can't get any better than this. So it is in a windowed mode, unfortunately, even though the iPhone is full screen. So the Aukey was doing it in a windowed mode too. But if I go full screen, it kind of shows you it in a windowed mode where the Satechi went full screen. You can stretch the screen a little bit, but then you get top and bottom is cut off. So that's the detriment of the Anker adapter, unfortunately. Do a quick audio sync test. Okay, so that's in the medium 200 to 300, so very similar to the Satechi and a bit better than the Aukey home hub. So the experience is going to be very similar to the other apps. Netflix isn't going to work either. So just quickly jump on to the Ottocast. So you can see the Ottocast, it starts to border straight away, unfortunately. You honestly can't get it. There's also so that's even more severely windowed there on this adapter. That again is probably level pegging with most other wireless adapters at the moment in terms of price. So the Anker, I would say, isn't very good of a hub, and the Ottocast is obviously giving a worse display feed from that hub. So this is like the worst case right now. We've done the hubs. Let's now go with a more simplest solution, cutting out 2 things and merging it with just one. So the HDMI cable. So we're going to plug the HDMI cable straight into that adapter, nice clean setup, and then we're going to connect this to our phone. And does it work? Yes, it does. Happy days. And that's obviously rapid as well. So that is now full screen, no borders. Happy days. Let's jump into YouTube. That again is probably level pegging with most other wireless adapters at the moment in terms of price, but in terms of performance, you honestly can't get any better than this. So that's pretty good. All in sync roughly. I'll say it is slightly out, so it does match the other adapters that we've tried previously. And it is going all full screen with everything in portrait on the phone. Happy days, that sounds good. Let's try a audio sync test and see how that plays out. I'd say that's around middle 200 to 300, but I'd say that's a little bit better actually than the other two, because you are bypassing one of the elements. So we're bypassing the HDMI cable, we're bypassing the hub, we're going straight in with the cable. So I think this cable option is actually quite a good solution there for these particular adapters. We'll just quickly try out Prime.
We're whistling our way towards an apocalypse, and Grace's eye ain't on the ball.
You had a clean shot at him, right?
Okay, so Prime does it full screen, no problem there. And obviously Netflix isn't going to work, I would predict, but let's just try it out anyway. No, cannot play, is not supported. So unfortunately, you might be able to get a cable, an HDMI cable that probably costs a little bit more, that might do some anti-copyright stuff, but you have to really troll through all the descriptions of all the cables to make sure that that actually is a thing. Try Plex.
Look, I don't want to fight you. Well, tough rocks, pal. A Jose Canseco bat? Tell me, you didn't pay money for this.
So yeah, that looks good, full screen. You get carded on the phone itself, but it runs full screen on the display. So Plex there, looking good.
I can't. And we'll go to a cantina and trade stories about Master Soul. Did you say goodbye to him?
Okay, so that's good. VLC, full screen. You've actually got lots of ratio options there, should you have any issues with the kind of content that you might be displaying, and that seems to work okay. And the sync's not too bad either. We're going to connect up the HDMI adapter to the Ottocast. So that's the Ottocast powered up with the HDMI connected. Let's come out of this, and we can see here that we are windowed. So let's just disconnect and then reconnect. So again, the Ottocast is putting it in a windowed format. You can stretch it, but it still shows the borders at the bottom. Let's try YouTube. So again, it does feel like the Ottocast does limit the frame rate, or it's just the general performance of the HDMI feed, unfortunately. And it does look like it is not doing it in a bordered setup. Try and force close the app, go back in. That again is probably level pegging with most other wireless adapters at the moment in terms of price, but in terms of performance, you honestly can't get any better than this. So again, not too bad. You do have some black borders on the left and right hand sides. It's not really going as full screen as we'd like, but that could just be a ratio thing of my display versus my actual content that's trying to fit on it. It isn't showing as many borders because I have resetted the app. So if you do encounter borders, you might need to reset the app if you're switching between different display feeds.
Grace's eye ain't on the ball.
You had a clean shot at him, right? With Soldier Boy. You didn't take it. Was your...
Yeah, I'm struggling to get it full screen on the Ottocast here. So it is an issue with the Ottocast generally. So overall, I think out of the two adapters, which one would I buy? I'll go for the CarlinKit. It is a little bit more universal in accepting the type of content. The Ottocast seems to window quite often and make a reduced display. That could be my display, for example. It might act differently in a different vehicle, but personally it is having a few negative effects on the content that I'm giving it. So I think the CarlinKit is definitely the better dongle here out of the two. Now, as to the type of connection that you make, I think this cable, this USB-C cable, is the way to go. It seems to behave very similar to the Satechi. I think the hubs seem to struggle unless they are specifically made for like copyright content and ways to get around that. And a single cable option is a lot more cleaner in store. You can just tuck that away in your cubby hole when your phone is in the car. Simply connect it. The only big issue is that you don't actually have charging. But as for power, you could just use a magnetic wireless charger if your iPhone supports it, and then have the phone powered whilst the connection is connected to your HDMI adapter here. So you've got best of both worlds there. But then some hubs do offer the ability to pass through charge, so that might be a better option for you. But from what I've seen so far, the Satechi and the HDMI cable seem to be the better option, whereas everything else seems to put it into a bit of a windowed format. All right, that's it. So if you're looking to do HDMI on your CarPlay display, this is definitely a decent solution as long as you use the right adapter or cable, and probably go with the CarlinKit over the Ottocast. Give us a thumbs up if you find this how-to helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have anything that you want me to try, and I'll try my best to test it out. You can send me a super thanks along with your comment or question. I really appreciate it and help support the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.